please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Miller. Heller. Ladies.
Here.
Burke.
Here.
Graham. Here. McGrath. Here. Sullivan.
Here. Okay, we start out with 207's Best, the Parent of the Year Awards, and we start with Maine East. Mike?
Hi, everybody. I'm pleased to introduce to you Stanislaw and Dorothy Vinyars. Would stand, please. Their daughter Jessica just recently graduated. They are Maine East's recipients of the Parent of the Year Award based on an essay that Jessica submitted, and it was a unanimous decision from our executive committee because the story was sort of quintessentially Maine East. Jessica was actually, as I understand it, born here in the U.S., and when she was about a year old, then moved back to Poland. And what she described in her essay was really, reads like a pretty idyllic sort of a life there in terms of the parents who really devoted so much time in terms of music lessons and dance lessons and swimming and strong involvement. She mentions getting to every Friday go to have Russian pierogies at Grandma's house, and you know, a lot of people really making sure that life was pretty good for her in terms of helping her grow up well. But that was for about 13 years. When she was 14, there was a decision made to come back to the United States. And she wrote that since 4 years ago, I've lived in Des Plaines, mostly with my dad, who sacrificed himself for me so I could have a better music education. Giving up his teaching job in high school in Poland as a teacher of technical subjects and professions was difficult. My dad has been working here for 10 years or more daily as a floor maintenance and cleaning service man because he doesn't have good English, because when he was a student they taught him Russian in school instead of English. Her mom was also a teacher in Poland and has had some pretty significant health difficulties, but is looking to do well, and very, very happy that she's here now. She's been in Poland a lot of the time, traveling back a couple of times a year to be there for Jessica. So again, a decision was made to come to take advantage of what we have to offer, and I think Jessica certainly has done us proud in terms of her achievement as a musician. She writes in closing, she said, "It's time to end the story of my beautiful life with my parents. Their job is ending. They completed their mission like no one else could. Now it's time for me to take over and continue becoming a real musician. My parents are going back to Poland, and all that will be left are memories and my future as a musician, thanks to them." Again, just amazing selfless support of their daughter, and I think all of us at Maine East feel like we are much better for having gotten to know Jessica, and clearly a lot of love and support has helped make her the young woman that she is today. So thank you all. Congratulations. You've done real good, Mom and Dad. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And I was going to say, when Mike was talking, Dr. White looked like she was actually going to tear up for the letter. So, Mike, it is obvious that your letter must have been spectacular.
Good morning, you all know.
Sean?
I would like to present Dr. Patricia Varco as Maine South's Parent of the Year.
Thank you.
At South, too, we had many entries, and Michael wrote a letter about his mom. It was, again, a unanimous decision from the executive committee that she would be our selection. If you know anything about Mike and you'll listen, I'm just going to read Mike's little letter, because if you know anything about Mike, you'll know that her hard work, and he really is a reflection of her. They're quite similar, and the qualities that you'll hear are the qualities that Mike has as well. To start out, my mother is not just an ordinary Park Ridge mom. Dr. Patricia Varco White should be called Wonder Woman, because she goes above and beyond the duties of a mother. She has lived in this town her entire life and has given so much of herself to the community, the sports programs at school, and so many people in the Chicagoland area. My mother owns and runs her own dental practice in Rosemont, which has been booming ever since she started to work there with my grandfather close to 30 years ago. My mom has always taught me one thing, and that is to carry as you climb. She sees dozens of people and treats them, each one of them, to the best of her abilities. She was recently awarded a Top Doc Award for dentists in the Chicago area based on patients' opinions. She has never turned a patient down because they can't afford it. She has always worked something out with the patient, even if they only pay a little or exchange another service for it, and they simply can't pay and are in serious need. My mother will repair their teeth without question. She has the patient base to prove this. She also volunteers in a program to repair the teeth of those who can't afford it at all for people in the surrounding area who aren't even part of her patient system. Outside of her job, my mother has been incredibly involved in the lives of her children. She has always been there to support my sister, Amanda, and me by taking pictures of us playing our various sports. But when I hit high school, it wasn't just her kids she was taking pictures of. By the time I became a senior, she had moved on to the entire football and wrestling programs. With a little help and some advice, she set up and created the school's photo website, so any athlete of any level in the program could easily access any of the dozens of photos taken by my mother or any of the other photographers. Not to mention that she does almost all of this out of her own pocket and has even held a few photo galleries to raise money for charity, which has become a staple in her life. Every year, my mother attends seminars, benefits, and donates thousands of dollars and hours to charities involving medical issues with kids. On top of all of this, my mother runs a household that is constantly excited with the presence of her children's friends, who she always welcomes with open arms as if they were her own. My mother never hesitates to give love and happiness to the people in her life. She's an extraordinary person. And by the way, if you ever go to that photo website, there's some fantastic photographs of our sports teams. I highly recommend it. With that,
And as a recipient of a great number of wrestling and football pictures, I would like to thank you and congratulate you.
Thank you.
And you do have a great son.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good winner, kid. Dave?
Yes. I'm here tonight filling in for Dr. Haugen, who could not make it tonight, and I would ask Julie Stepanovich to please stand up. Julie is the Maine West Parent of the Year, as nominated by her daughter, Sarah. And Sarah's letter was outstanding. There's going to be a lot of common threads that you've heard from the previous two. And I can't say it any better than Sarah said it, so I'm just going to read your letter, Sarah. It's outstanding. At age 3, every little girl wants to be just like their mother. At age 13, every girl thinks they are too cool to listen to their mother. At age 16, every girl wants to get away from their mother. At age 18, I'm not like every girl. I truly understand and appreciate the gift that was given to me by my mother, Julie Stepanovich. Not many people can say that their mom is as involved in their lives as my mom is. As an incoming freshman, I didn't quite understand her interest either. She was always there to pick me up for practice right on time, and every time I looked into the stands, whether it be 90 degrees at a tennis match, a blizzard outside at the basketball game, or a rainy night at a soccer game, she was always there. At that time, I was the 14-year-old girl, embarrassed by the fact that my mom was always around. But that never stopped her from showing up. She made sure that I always knew she was there to support me or do anything possible for me to remember her presence at every game, even when she was the only parent there cheering us on. Her support didn't stop as the years went on. She volunteered to drive to Iowa the summer before my senior year in order for my soccer team to take a summer trip that wouldn't have been possible without a female supervisor. She was always the one raising her hand to take on volunteer opportunities, but nothing sparked my knowledge of the impact she had on my life athletically as the time when my dad was in the hospital during my senior year of basketball. I never took a step back to appreciate the time she put in to make sure she was there supporting me when I played every minute of every game, or if I was influential in the game as cheerleaders or on the sideline. Yet I was warmed up for my first game. During the 2-week period, I looked into the stands and hoped that somehow my mom would appear to cheer my team on. I knew it was unlikely, but I never quite understood the impact she had, and I always taken her support for granted. Once the national anthem was playing and I sat on the bench, the first thing I heard was, "I found Jules." I wasn't the only one to notice my mom's absence in the stands, and she never was one to disappoint me or my fellow teammates. Even when there were thousands of other things on her mind, she always made a point to be there to cheer me on. Athletics have been an integral part of my high school experience, and it would never have been made possible if it weren't for the support and encouragement from my mother. Although it may seem that my mom used all of her energy supporting me through my athletic endeavors, her support didn't stop there. Academically, she always pushed me to try my hardest in the classroom and challenge myself more and more in order for me to become the individual I am today. Even when I was timid to take an academic risk and push myself, she was always there leading me on the right track. If I was having trouble in the classroom, she was always the one to give me guidance on how to deal with situations and what routes to take to make things better. For example, as a senior, I wanted to drop my AP biology class due to a lack of understanding and comprehension. But as first semester came to a close, she encouraged me to stick with it and continue to push myself, even if a little senioritis was kicking in. Now, as AP testing is approaching, she personally helps me to accomplish my goals. Once a week, we sit down and study to further my understanding of the material I review every day in class. She has instilled in me the mindset that where I am is good, but there are always things I can do to make myself better, and no one is going to push me to do them unless I take the first steps myself. My mom has been the only person consistently there pushing me to understand that I will not only have the encouragement from teachers after high school, and if I want to get things done, I must push myself to do them. Throughout high school, my mom always knew the little push that would be able to motivate me to accomplish more and be better than I already was. I have been blessed throughout my life with many things and people that have shaped me into the person I am today. But the one person that has been there encouraging me and never left my side is my mom. Even when people didn't believe that I could do it, she has given me the inspiration to be who I am and more. I was talking to my friends about the email we got from Dr. Haugen regarding this award, and the first thing that was said was, the first person I thought about when I read the email was your mom. My mom has been able to impact not only me, but all the people she meets throughout her life. If it wasn't for her, I, along with my closest friends, wouldn't have the support and encouragement that got us through the hardest parts of high school. I was given the opportunity to grow up with a mother who gave me the chance to believe in myself and become the successful person and student I am today. My mom, Julie Stepanovich, is the most selfless, compassionate person I know, and for this, I believe she deserves Parent of the Year Award.
Very nicely done. Congratulations on behalf of the board. Thank you.
Congratulations. How cool is this?
Oh, shoot.
What an honor.
Give everybody.
Of the approximately 14,000 parents that we have in the 207 district, you three have been picked, one that represent each school. So it's an amazing accomplishment, and I definitely think it runs to the quality of the children you've raised into fine adults. Now, the good news is this is the moment you get to sneak out of the meeting unless you would like to stay for the rest of it. The bad news is it's not Dr. White taking the pictures when you step into the hallway, it's Dave. So you gotta see your pictures to understand what I mean. So the three principals are gonna join you, you're gonna go in the hall and you're gonna get some pictures taken and have a good evening. And you're of course welcome to come back in if you wish.
Congratulations, everybody.
Whatever. That's embarrassing.
I wouldn't mind buying one.
What? Would you mind doing that? More polite.
Okay, are there any public comments to come before the board? Did you receive any cards? Okay. Any updates from board members?
And I attended the Eagle Scout, what is it called?
Eagle Scout Quarterback.
The Court of Honor, and that was quite spectacular for Sean Sullivan's son.
It was tough to drag him back for it, so we tricked him while he was in town. Anyhow, any other comments from board members?
I'd just like to comment that I attended both the Maine West Honors Assembly and graduation, and for the Honors Assembly, which probably ran about 2 hours, the whole student body, it was absolutely, you couldn't have asked for better. It was so great, and the inspiration that it gives to the underclassmen is really very significant. And of course, the graduation was outside, the weather was perfect, and it was a great day. Feel honored to be able to participate and do that.
I saw the requisition for Audrey ordering the perfect weather.
Yes. Little aside, Jim Liu, who used to be a United Airlines pilot, told Jim Coburn years ago that he gave him the number of the control tower to tell him that, try to keep the planes from going over Maine West during the graduation ceremony, so Jim would do that. So we gave Audrey that information, and she thought it was a joke. She thought he was kidding. You know, Jim Coburn would always say, I called the tower and they're not going to send airplanes over. She thought it was a joke. Well, it turns out it is true, and she did call, and they released probably 500 balloons in honor of the 3 students that were lost this year. And they went, of course the airplanes were glad to know about that because they didn't want to fly into those balloons, but it was a very, very moving and meaningful experience. But the tower does respond. I don't know if South has that problem or not, but it's something to keep in mind.
Yes, we have that problem, mostly during football games.
Yes.
Any other board comments?
Just that I was at the Maine West graduation as well, and it did go off very well, and it was moving, and moving ceremony. I also had the occasion to visit all 3 classrooms at Maine West earlier, this was in May, and everything went well, and I had a chance to see those classes.
Anything else? Superintendent, any comments? Okay. Any committee reports?
Let's see. We had a committee meeting right before this meeting, the Education Committee, and Barb updated us on a number of different projects, and Ken did as well, including the Scheduling Committee, the Grade Committee. We received an update, and I think we'll get more information later in the meeting about the
Teacher ratings.
yes, the rubric for teaching ratings. So we'll be getting more detailed written reports on these committees as well in the next few months.
Mary, monthly status of finances.
In your packet this evening is the April financial report, our first foray into the graphs that were requested at the last board meeting. I think I'm going to try and put the dollar value too, because when you get a fund like the facility leasing fund and all it is a couple $1,000 in interest, and it doubles in 1 year, it kind of skews the graph a little, so we'll work on improving those. In April, you can see that we're tracking pretty much as expected on the budget side with the March collection of taxes. You'll see that we've almost got 100% of our revenue. However, I'll warn you that this is on a cash basis. A lot of that state revenue will get reversed out. How we end the year will still be dependent upon whether or not the state makes that last payment via budgeted or not. On the expenditure side, we're within the budget. Remember, June jumps up as we pay out our 10-month employees, so that's why it's a little bit lower in the percentage of the year. Also, as part of this month's financial report, you have as information the Scrimp workers' comp renewal. The Scrimp board will act on this renewal for a 7/1 renewal. Our workers' comp rates are fairly flat over last year. This is something that the Buildings and Grounds Committee discussed in length before the meeting. And also you have the notification of our bond sale. If you recall, several months ago, the board adopted parameters for which a bond sale could occur. And this is an advanced sale that will close in September. No board action is required on it, as the sale was within the parameters of the resolution that the board officially adopted. We received a present value savings of 16.78% on these bonds, or almost $700,000 at a rate of 1.75%. So we did well. Yeah.
Anytime you can save $750,000, it's a good thing.
It's a good thing.
Any questions for Mary?
Only thing on the Scrimp, our deductible is different than everybody else's. Have you looked at increasing it?
Our deductible is the same as District 225, who has a similar size, and we've looked at, it's not cost effective to increase it based on the number of lives that we cover. 211 and 214 have almost double the employees that we have, which is why they can absorb that higher deductible.
Any other questions? Okay, Barb, Instructional Services?
Yes, just briefly, you have a copy in your notebook of the main scholar finalists for the class of 2012. There were 4 for East, 6 for South, 5 for West. Remember, these represent the top 1% of the graduating class. So they're there for your perusal, and they've been honored at each of their graduations.
Okay. Any questions for Barb? Other items, monthly update on FOIA requests?
There were 3 this month reprocessed.
Okay, consent agenda 6, is there any request to pull anything out of the consent agenda? Okay, then is there a motion on consent agenda 6A through H?
So moved.
Burke, second Peller. Any questions or comments on the motion?
I do.
Yes, sir.
I fully support the motion, but it's not every day that somebody donates $25,000 on a personal check. So I thought I'd call out that Mrs. Roy Lee Tipton donated $25,000 per line to Maine West High School. Pretty neat. And I have one other question, another matter. On the last item, next to last G, transfer of interest, there was the transfer of $3 million of interest earned. That's a lot of money, especially given the low interest rates. I guess my question is this 1 year's of earnings that's been
And
transferred?
it's $597,500.
But then it also says interest earned on the debt service fund in the amount of $2,370,000.
$2,300.
Oh, I'm sorry, I misread it, you're right, okay. That question was just an annual, does this approximate our annual interest at the current low rate, $600,000? So just every year around this time we transfer?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Call the roll.
McGrath.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Graham.
Yes.
Lees.
Aye.
Burke.
Yes.
Heller. Sullivan.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Next item is the resolution to approve the ratings rubric. Recommendation that the Board of Education approve the adoption of the attached census rubrics submitted by the Teachers Rating Task Force, which provide definitions for the new ratings to be used for future evaluation beginning the 2012-2013 school year. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Ray, Sullivan. Okay, questions, comments?
Now that a lot of work has gone into it, I just like to really understand what, is this process final now?
No, well, the consensus has been reached on these rubrics, which are for classroom teachers. But we still are finishing up work in some specialist positions, nurse, librarians, speech pathologists, school psych, guidance counselor, etc. And hope to bring those sets of rubrics to you in July. And that's just the beginning of them figuring out how to implement this process, revise our old system, train up our supervisors, particularly getting them pre-qualified with the new state online tutorials and passing those tests so that they can be allowed to supervise and evaluate. And then really kind of connect the dots with our professional development program so that as teachers sort of self-assess themselves and get feedback on where they are against these criteria, we can have appropriate staff development to help them grow.
For some reason, I thought at the last meeting, somebody said that the state had issued some sort of regulations that were essential to this. Are we waiting for some definitions from them, or we kind of?
Well, these are the definitions that we had to come up with by law to meet a deadline of September 1st. These are the 4 ratings that will be used starting then, rather than the 3 ratings. Yes. Yeah.
So we either
I
did
don't
this
know,
or
I thought that maybe it's the ISBD was late.
They're late in the training
The training
modules that all of us need to get online and take and pass.
What I was thinking.
Are there other questions I can answer?
Do you want to add something about the distribution of this information to the teachers?
Sure. We sent this out digitally probably about a week and a half ago, I believe, just so that everybody before summer could have the documents to chew on and get comfortable with. And we as a community need to implement some professional development, obviously, as we get into the next school year, to help teachers understand really what the language means, what the expectations are, and as we make some decisions about how to revise our old system, about what they can expect in terms of observations and other evidence that they can bring to the table that we might seek to come up with a decision about their rating. And in the future, I think is it 14, 15, or 15, 16?
15, 16.
The student growth component will have to be figured out how that's going to be part of this decision too. That's not mandated yet, and that's good because we really are trying to figure that one out, or we actually haven't started seriously to look at that yet. This, the law also affects how principals are evaluated, and actually they're first out of the blocks, and their new evaluation system will start this next year.
Any other questions? Okay, we have a motion and second. Please call the roll.
Burke,
Yes.
Graham,
Yes.
Miller,
Aye.
Heller, Lees,
Aye.
McGrath, Sullivan.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Number 8, approval of bids and awarding of contracts, the electronic maintenance service contract, recommendation that the Board of Education amend the owner-architect agreement with Archon to include maintenance services for 20 hours per week for the 2012-2013 fiscal year at a cost of $61,800.
So moved.
Burke, second.
Second.
Second, Lees. Questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, call roll.
Heller, Lees,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Graham,
Yes.
McGrath, Burke,
Yes.
Sullivan.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Number 9, is there a request to pull any of these out from an approved motion? Then hearing none, we'll look for a motion on 5620, administrative procedure, 5640, criminal offender notification, 5660, National Terrorism Advisory System, 5680, plan for responding to medical emergencies at physical fitness facility with AED, 7100, transportation, 7310, classifications of facility use, 7311, stipulations governing facility use, 7320, fee schedule for facility use, and discipline procedures for extracurricular code of conduct, 2012-2013. Is there a motion? Heller, second?
Second.
I'm sorry.
Second.
Second, Lees. Thank you. Okay, questions? Comments?
I have, I guess, a couple of quick questions on the discipline procedures. One of the things was harmonizing kind of that there's a standard reasonable, when there's contact with the parents, that they make a reasonable attempt to notify the parent or legal guardian. Have they defined what that reasonable attempt is? Because I can see where people might have a very different idea. Is there some kind of standardized item that's not reflected in the document, but that, the schools are following so that we,
Well, minimally, Margaret, and Dave or anybody can speak to this, but minimally that begins with minimally a phone call. So they're going to look at the numbers. Part of the problem that we run into on limited cases is we don't have good up-to-date phone numbers in our system. Now we seek that, we troll for those things, we collect them every year, but for whatever reason, a few people just don't have those. But that starts at least with a call in appropriate settings based on the conduct. It could include a letter, probably emails at some time, but I know the first line is always a call.
okay, so if they don't reach the parent, is it 3 attempts toward it? Is there some kind of parameters around that, or is it left up to each of the individuals who are
I would
making
say
that decision? Is it, they're individuals?
we don't have a metric that says if you try 3 times and don't reach them, you can stop trying. I would venture to say that most of our deans make calls back. I don't have a rule of thumb for how many calls that is. Dave's a former dean, so he may
Right.
speak to this.
I could say that also depends on the infraction. For example, if it's a suspension, our deans aren't going to stop until they make actual contact with the parent. I'm talking about speaking contact, not a message, not an email. If it's a detention, they're going to try the various phone calls that they have at their disposal to make contact, and if they can't do that, second best would be a message, third best would be an email. And I think that's pretty standard, although there's no written protocol for that.
Well, I mean, as long as it is for those more significant offenses, that it is,
Right.
just you're going to keep going till you get someone.
Here's how I know it, how I think it's pretty good. I don't hear much about it.
Okay.
That's my litmus test.
The other thing too that I've heard the deans say to me before is that with all the students carrying cell phones now, a lot of times the deans will say, can you contact your mom or dad, you know, and they'll recognize their child's cell phone number and then they'll pick up.
Yeah, that's a good
So,
point. Yeah, that is big, that is a big
Wonderful,
difference.
that's cell phone policy, and which I don't think is reflected in here.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's in there.
In fact, that's, but before we go there, I want to go to page 10, which was cheating and plagiarism. I want to understand exactly, because it sounds, the policy hasn't been strengthened in any way to my my read of it. They get called once in a class, the two, again, they get a 0, and the teacher makes a reasonable attempt to contact the parents and notifies the counselor. But the only time there really seems to be significant consequences is if they get caught in the same class a second time. So it doesn't cross over that if they get caught once in each class, it's not like this is a significant, issue. And that, to me, is a significant issue.
But let me tell you what the difference is today from when most of us at the table went to school. And I can say this as a writing teacher that did it before Google existed, but the advent of Google now and sourcing and referencing, we do what's called information literacy. And part of what happens in each classroom is helping students understand about how they pull their sources and how to cite their sources and what are good sources and what plagiarism means. And it is something that goes on a constant basis. So there's that sort of I don't know what the right term is, but it's a pretty frequent thing that a lot of teachers are facing. There's that contrast with I'm copying the answers off of my neighbor in a test or a quiz situation. So I just
don't think that, you should get a pass just because it's in a different class when you get caught in a second. You get caught a second time, even if it's not the same class, I think there should be escalation.
My experience at least is, first of all, when a student is written up and it comes to the executive committee, that's a big deal and teachers talk. And the deans are the conduit. So again, the deans are going to know when there's been a problem, and frequently we have had a student who may have had a problem in one class and it comes around again the next year or the next semester or something like that. So that's taken into consideration when, as we deliberate about, okay, is this actually what's going to happen to the student? And in some instances, if the student is on probation, it's a second thing, they may be dropped from the class.
Would this whole thing be solved, Margaret, if you took out the words in the same class? If you read the same sentence, just took out the words in the same class?
Obviously the teacher, that means the onus is on the teacher there to refer if it happens again in the same class. I mean, they can't know if it's happening in other classes, so
I think what you can do is say if the second violation occurs, the dean will confirm with the student and then they get some class.
Yeah. I mean, I just want to make sure that, it seems like that the dean may not be involved if there's just one instance, but if what's really happening is that deans are getting involved, then I'm okay with it. If the process is working, I mean, there seems to be almost a loophole here that could be exploited, but, because I have to say, I'm running across it, unfortunately, in the class I teach. Like, you gotta cite those sources, and you can't cite the same thing 15 times in a row because really you've just stolen the whole idea.
Well, and Margaret, those are college students. So,
No.
actually, post-college students.
Yeah.
So imagine what the average freshman English teacher is dealing with. I just want to, here's, and this is a concept, this brings up a good philosophical concept that we've talked about before, and that is the need to make sure that we have administrative discretion. Because the problem with trying to craft a perfect policy is that it isn't the dean who knows all of the background and can inference all of the things that have happened, just as Mike's explaining there. So having some discretion and decision-making on the part of someone who knows the full story, I think is important. So that would be my only part of caution. I'm happy that, you know, if there's something here, Margaret, that works from a language change that gets you where you want to be.
I'm okay if this process is there. I
Yeah.
don't know that I need to change the language, I just, you know, mandating that the teacher report it if it happens a second time to the dean, I think is important. But, you know, I just don't want it to seem, like, you know, I mean, I think it could be exploited in the, I got called once this time, I have to be here again, but
5 chair.
I got 5 other classes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's not happening, but I do see your point.
Okay, so no language change.
No language changes on the process. Maybe I'm missing something on the cellular telephone.
No, you are correct. I did send it to the deans, but somehow it.
Okay, what section is
It's
that?
on page 15.
Yeah, 15 to page 16.
Okay, so,
The first part, the first bold part there. So that's okay, that's our policy allowing in designated places, is that our current policy? But the next one down seems to
Yeah, that's.
kind of not work with what we.
We have to.
No, the part below is the old.
We have to insert
verbiage.
that new.
Yeah.
yeah, okay,
That
so
was
here's.
requested, but somehow maybe, you know.
Okay, but that's an easy enough fix, because what we can do is just insert in that
Right.
spot, so note that for the record, that we'll insert the current cell phone. Good catch.
I have a lot of time traveling this year.
Okay, well, good. Okay. Yeah, the first part is fine, it's the second little word that just didn't get stricken. And you know what I bet happened, as I was trying to play with formatting, I bet this is a strike through, and it just got unstricken. But anyway, we'll get it cleaned up.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? Any other questions or comments? Okay, we have a motion and a second. Call the roll.
McGrath.
Aye.
Lees.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Burke.
Yes.
Graham.
Yes.
Heller.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Aye, motion carries unanimously. Budget timeline for 2012-2013, budget approval, District 207 and NSERV. Recommendation of the Board of Education in accordance with Section 517-1 of the Illinois School Code entitled Annual Budget. Adopt resolution is outlined below. Details may be found in the appendices. For the record, I'm going to read the resolution so we get dates on the record. Be resolved, the Board of Education, Maine Township High School District 207, County of Cook, State of Illinois, that Mary Blue, Assistant Superintendent for Business, appointed to prepare a tentative budget for said school district for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2012 and ending June 30th, 2013, which tentative budget shall be filed with the Secretary of the Board of Education. Be resolved by the Board of Education of Maine County High School District 207, County of Cook, State of Illinois, that a public hearing will be held on the tentative budget for 2012-2013 on August 6, 2012 at 7 p.m. The following notice of public hearing be published at least 30 days prior to August 6, 2012. Notice is hereby given by the Board of Education of District 207, County of Cook, State of Illinois, tentative budget for said district for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2012 and ending June 30, 2013, will be on file and conveniently available for public inspection at the Ralph J. Frost Administrative Center, 1131 South D Road, Park Ridge, Illinois, and 7 public libraries located within Maine Township from and after 9 a.m. on the second day of July 2012. Notice is further hereby given a public hearing on said budget will be held at 7 p.m. on the 6th day of August 2012 in the boardroom of the Ralph J. Frost Administration Center in the said school district. Is there a motion, please?
Second.
So Heller and McGrath. I'm going to do NSERV separately. Any questions or comments on the motion?
Is this a different timeline? It seems like this is what we did last December when we did the budget for the upcoming fiscal year.
Yeah, this is the same timeline. What we did is probably 2 years ago, we moved the public hearing to August from September, so that there was a month between the public hearing and the time the board adopted the budget to reflect on the public's comments.
But is this the budget for the year that's about to begin?
Yes. You set the parameters in December for which to build the budget.
Okay, so this is the detailed budget. In December, I know we found something I thought was
No, that was the,
Yeah.
levy. Okay. Got it.
Any other questions or comments? On the budget 207, motion McGrath, call the roll.
Miller.
Aye.
Graham.
Yes.
Burke.
Yes.
McGrath.
Aye.
Lees.
Aye.
Keller. Sullivan.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Next is adopt the following resolution regarding NSERC. Be it resolved, the Board of Education of Wayne Township High School District 207, County of Cook, State of Illinois, that a public hearing will be held on the 2012-2013 NSERC tentative budget on August 6, 2012 at 7 p.m. and the following notice of public hearing be published at least 30 days prior to August 6, 2012. Notice is hereby given by the Board of Education District 207, the County of Cook, State of Illinois, that tentative budget for North Suburban Education Region for Vocational Education, NSERC, joint agreement for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2012 and ending June 30, 2013, will be on file and convened in the American Public Inspection of Ralph J. Frost Administration Center, 1131 South P Road, Parkridge, Illinois, going after 9 a.m. on the second day of July 2012. Notice is further hereby given that public hearing on said budget will be held at 7 p.m. on the 6th day of August 2012 in the boardroom of Ralph J. Frost Administration Center in this said school district. Is there a motion, please?
So moved. Second.
Graham, McGrath. Questions or comments on the motion? Call the roll.
Lees.
Aye.
Keller.
Yes.
Miller. Burke.
Yes.
McGrath.
Aye.
Graham. Yes. Sullivan.
Aye, motion carries unanimously. Calendar items, our next meeting is scheduled for July 9th, 2012 at 7 p.m. here in the boardroom. Anything else for the calendar? Okay, action items, are there any other items to come before the board? Any other communications to come before the board this time? Okay. Do we have any student personnel issues? Do we have any pending litigation issues?
No.
Okay. And so therefore, do we have a motion to go into closed session for the purpose of review of closed session minutes, appointment, employment, compensation, performance, or dismissal of specific employees, and collective negotiating matters? Keller, Burke. Any questions or comments on the motion? Please call the roll.
Burke.
Yes.
Keller. McGrath.
Aye.
Graham.
Yes.
Lees.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Sullivan.
Aye, motion carries unanimously. We are in closed session at